Hi everyone, my name is Stanley Hong. Today, I'll be presenting my Java project, which title University Course Registration System. I selected this title because it requires complex logic, such as ensuring classes that exceed their capacity and checking that students have complete procedures before joining advanced classes. I think this that makes me feel interesting because, especially as me as a uni student, I am very curious about how the system is going to work. So in this project, I have used some concepts, including inheritance, encapsulation, and polymorphism. For inheritance, I have I have a base class which is a student, and two subclasses which are student underscore and instructor. And for encapsulation, I'm using private and protected access modifiers to secure my data. For polymorphism, I use the overriding methods like the string to display different details for different users. So now, let's walk through the code structure. Okay, here the student. This is the base class for the project. The name is, as I said just now, the name is the student. Okay, this acts as a parent class and it holds common attributes like here this name, ID, and email. And here I use the protected access modifier as I see just now so that my subclass can access these variables directly. I also included a constructor here to initialize these values and a toString method to return basic details. This is the overall for my base class. So now let's go move on to the subclass. So the subclass, I have two subclass. The first one is the student underscore. It uses extends students to inherit the name and ID attribute. This is I want to use the inheritance. You must have the extend keyword. Then the main class. This is subclass. And I added some specific attributes like GPA, and list core registered courses to track what classes that the student is taking. The most important part here is the enroll method. Here, this one. This method performs two validations. First, it checks the course is full method. This one. This helps to ensure that there are seats available for the courses. Second, it checks courses.get prerequisite with this method. If a course has a prerequisite, it verifies if the students has already registered for it. Okay. Now let's move on to my second subclass, instructor. Same thing, the name of the subclass, then the keyword extend, then the parent class student. This subclass also extend the base class, but at the same time it also add different attributes like department and salary and office hours. The constructor use the super keyword here to pass the name and ID back to the parent class. However, in this project, we also have an independent class, means that it is not a parent class or either a subclass, so it's on by under the same package in this project. This class will manage the capacity and enroll count variable. It is a Boolean method which we call enroll student here that only increases the count if the classes isn't full. And lastly, we have a main class with our registration And this is also the test class to test all the classes in front here. Okay, so basically this is how it looks like. So we have create object, set execute, create user, and display info. Then we have different scenario. We have different scenario that we can test out later. So this is how the flow, how the structures look like. Okay, so now let's try to run the output. Okay, so now here the output. Same thing. The title of the project, University Course Registration System. And because I here already created some courses, some course code, title, capacity, and here's the student, create a user, student, name, ID, email, GPA, I also have a professor, same thing, name, ID, email, department. So here it is, display info, I display student 1 and prof info. Student 1 means is Alistan, and the prof will talk to me. So to display their ID, name, email. For student, we display GPA. The group will be student. So for the professor, display is department, computer science, and is the instructor. Okay, so for the scenario A, which is a normal successful enrollment, that's student one and student two, which is Alistan and Bobley enrolled into this course, CS101, because currently now the CS101 course is its number of students that take the course is 0, and its capacity is 2. So both of them can enroll into the courses successfully. So here's a message: success for Alistan and Bobby enroll into the programming with CS101. For scenario B, it will be a capacity validation. Now I want to enroll student 3 into this CS101 course, but previously student 1 and student 2, which is Alice and Bobby, already enrolled into the CS101 course. So now the number of students that taken the course will be 2, and it reached the capacity that I have set before for CS101 course. So now if student 3, I type here, if student 3 want to enroll in this course, it will be failed. And it will be print a message, fail to enroll Charlie Lim, which is student 3, in Intro to Programming course CS101. And the reason course is full because already reach the maximum capacity. Now scenario C has added some prerequisite validation. I have a prerequisite check. So now I want to enroll all the students into CS102. Logically, it should be successful for all the students because the capacity have 30 and now the students only have 3 only. So and there should be enrolled successfully into CS102 course. But now since I've added some prerequisite, so it will check for the prerequisite condition first. For the prerequisite, I have said that if a student want to take the CS102 course, it must take CS101 course together, which means that these two courses must take together. If you doesn't take CS101 course, but you want to take CS102 course, but so it definitely will be fail. Okay, so now look at this new C. Student 1, Alistan, enroll CS102. It should be success because previously already enrolled Alice into the CS101 course, so now she can take CS102. Same thing happened to student 2, which is Bob Lee. For student 3, Charlie, he failed to enroll into CS102 course because previously he's also failed to enroll in CS101 course because due to the capacity maximum capacity. So now Charlie doesn't take CS101 course. So definitely he cannot take CS102 course. Okay, now let's move on to scenario D, the display schedule and drop. This is the drop. This drop is a function that enables a student to drop their currently taken course. So now For example, I take student 1, Alice Tan. So now Alice Tan has enrolled into two courses, which is CS101, Intro to Programming, and CS102, Data Structures. So now let's say Alice Tan want to drop CS102 course. No want to take data structures anymore. So this method, this method drop helps student 1, Alice Tan, to drop the course data structure courses. So here's a message. Alice Tan drop data structures. So now for the current schedule, Alice Tan only has one course, which is 101, Intro to Programming. It is the whole test class look like. So now it's our Q&A section. I have sent this project to my friends to let them to test, and they have given me some questions to let me to answer. So let's move on to it. Okay, first question. Why did you use protected SS modifier in your base class name student instead of private SS modifier? Okay, this one. Why I use protected? I use protected so that the subclass, the student underscore, and the instructor can access the name and ID variables directly without needing to use getter methods constantly. Okay, question 2. In your instructor class, what does the line super name ID email do? So it's this line. Okay, this line calls the constructor of the parent class, which is student. It sends the name, ID, and email up to the parent so they can initialize there. So I don't need to rewrite the code. So I don't need to always rewrite the code lah. Okay, so question 3. Why does your course class need an enroll count variable? Okay, this one. Enroll count variable. This variable, I need this because I need to track how many students are currently in the class so that I can compare it against the capacity. Without it, I cannot know when the class is full. So question 4. In the student underscore class, why did you use an array list for register courses? This array list. I use the array list. I import this class because we don't know how many courses a student will take. It's like, for example, a student can take 3 courses, some take 4 courses, some take 5 to 6 courses. It doesn't have a fixed number. So instead of using normal array, I use array list because it can grow dynamically as the student enrolls in more classes. As we know that because normal array has a fixed size, and if we use a normal array, we have to change and modify it. It's quite more job. So instead of that, I use array list, and it will ease my job. Okay, last question. What is the purpose of the toString method you included in every class? This method toString. Okay, this toString method allows me to print the object directly using system.out.println instead of printing a memory address. It prints the readable details like the student's name and ID. Okay. Throughout this project, I've learned how to effectively use inheritance to reduce code duplication. By creating a base class, I didn't have to define name and email twice for students and instructors. I also improved my logic skills by implementing the validation for prerequisites, ensuring that one object could check the state of another object before performing an action was a great challenge. Uh, for about future plan, if I'm going to improve this system, maybe I would like to add some feature to calculate the tuition fees based on the number of credits a student has registered for. This sounds interesting. Okay, I think this is the end for my presentation. Thank you.